Yep. Hello, my name's Sam Wally. I was an apprentice at Qdos. I studied my intermediate apprenticeship and advanced apprenticeship in IT user.
My name is Lena Ravisha and I'm the Managing Director of Qdos Training, and I'll be interviewing Sam on the subject of his experience throughout the apprenticeship journey. So Sam, what made you choose an apprenticeship in the first place?
I was currently studying college at the meantime, studying biology, economics, chemistry and business. I found that sort of further education perhaps wasn't for me, so I looked at other options. I saw an apprenticeship with Qdos. It was local to me. I also applied for an apprenticeship with the NHS. I went through the process originally with Qdos for an admin position. Unfortunately I didn't get it, but Elaine did speak very highly of me. Unfortunately, I received a phone call from her within 2 months asking me to go for a sales role here. I was offered a job role at NHS, but I was offered the opportunity by Elena, and fortunately decided to go with Qdos.
Yes, which we enjoyed having Sam with us for 2 years as an apprentice. So when you were going through the interview, first of all, did you prepare for the interview?
Yes, I did prepare. For interviews, you have to research the company, you have to practice the questions you will be asked. The more you prepare, the better chance you're going to do well in the interview. I've always thought I'm confident, I'm motivated, and I feel I'm prepared for the interview as well.
And why do you think you got the job over other candidates?
I feel I come across very motivated, confident, where perhaps people my age sometimes don't. I like to feel I've always acted maybe older than my actual age, which will impress employers. You've got to, I'm well spoken as well, but you've got to come across a professional. You're going to be working for a business, so they're going to need someone who's going to show their business in a good light to customers or people dealing with the business.
From my side, I can say that I've chosen Sam over other candidates. We had a sales position, a junior sales position available, and I have been employing apprentices for some years now, and I thought the junior sales position can be filled by a young person. I wasn't looking for experience as such, I was looking for an attitude. Ultimately, I was looking for an enthusiastic person that is capable of doing sales, which is ultimately likes to talk to people, can represent my company in a good way. And I found that in Sam. I found he was self-confident, he wasn't nervous, he was just talking to me on my level, and I thought, alright, yes, I feel quite comfortable with him representing me. Therefore, I have given Sam the position of junior sales position. So when you started with us, your first couple of months, how did it feel like? How was it different from everything you've done before?
Well, I'll say it's extremely different to college life. At work it's 8:30 to 5 o'clock. You're dealing with a business. It's a shock to the system initially, but I felt if you approach it in the correct way, what's different to college, you're working for a business, you have to act professional, you have to act like somebody who would be working sort of 8:30, 9 to 5 every day. You turn up on time, but I feel you get used to it. It's a shock to the system initially, but you will get used to it, and especially if you're local to the area like I was, getting to and from work was relatively easily.
So how did you get to and from work?
Well, I biked it initially, so I was 10 to 15 minutes away, so I'd cycle to work, even in the winter when it's a bit rainy, but it's okay, especially if you enjoy going to work like I was. I was more than happy to. It's an initial shock, but you get used to it after a month or so.
Yeah, were you getting tired from like a long day?
Well, if you enjoy work, as I was, and you work hard, but if you enjoy it, the time flies by. Obviously, initially I was maybe a bit tired, getting home at sort of 5:30 instead of 4 o'clock from college. But it was an hour and a half in a day really. But it's a shock initially, but you get used to it. And if you approach it work in the right way, it shouldn't really affect you.
So how long has it taken you to totally settle in and start acting independently, where you can be given a task and you just get on with it?
I think roughly around 2 to 3 months really. Obviously I'm still very raw as an 18-year-old. While some tasks I can maybe do straight away when started, but some tasks I need to be monitored. So obviously you're working on behalf of the company, you can't really afford to mess up as time equals money. But if around 2 to 3 months, I was happily given tasks, sort of all cracking on my own, and produce sort of efficient and effective results.
So obviously you were doing an IT application specialist apprenticeship, called IT user at the time. So you were studying subjects such as Word, Excel, Access, PowerPoint, intermediate and advanced levels.
Yeah.
But your job was sales. How did those two subjects complement each other, and how?
Well, initially, I think they do complement each other, but they do indeed. Excel, Word and Access are huge tools for sales, whether it's recording data, recording results, tracking sort of sales leads, and just for stats and figures mainly. They're huge tools. Whether it was at Qdos, would use Excel and the databases regularly. I know as a manager, my colleague Vinny, he'll be using Excel regularly, and if he wasn't training it beforehand, he would struggle to use it. And in my job role now at InTraining, the qualification I've got has proved extremely valuable. I wouldn't be as efficient at my job role if I didn't have high IT skills, especially in Excel and databases or Access. I'm now asked for a lot of help when it comes to spreadsheets and databases, as I've trained to sort of advanced level, particularly level 3 equivalent level.
So do you feel, because you've done that training with Qdos, now you're at InTraining with that knowledge, it kind of gives you an edge over other people?
It gives me an edge. I think when you've got that in-depth knowledge in IT to that extent, of course there's, I mean, a lot of people don't have that knowledge of IT. Unless you're self-taught. IT is constantly changing. Excel and Microsoft is constantly changing. So having that good recent knowledge now does give me the edge over people in the workplace. You can produce documents, produce stats and figures, produce spreadsheets a lot quicker, saving time for you to go out and do other work and be as effective as possible.
So if you had your time back, and you would have started an apprenticeship, and it would be a sales position, would you prefer to do a sales apprenticeship or an IT apprenticeship?
No, I wouldn't really. I think the IT apprenticeship complements sales quite well. I think with most office-based sales roles and even field-based sales roles, IT is a huge tool, and it's one thing it's not inbuilt into your IT skills. It's something you have to learn. While sales skills are essentially built into that person, you need to be confident, you need to be motivated, you need to be well-spoken, you need to be a go-getter. And most people have those traits initially when going into sales. Otherwise, you may not be very successful within that industry, while IT skills is what you learn, and you have to record lots of stats and figures in sales, produce reports on a regular basis, send letters out using Word. I've produced multiple presentations for companies and businesses using PowerPoint, and if you know those skills, it will be a lot more effective in a sales role.
Yes, it underpins your role together. So what work and what achievement have you done with Qdos and within training that you're particularly proud of?
I feel here is bringing in key accounts for Qdos, what's still used now. I feel my contribution to the Ofsted inspection here, we were graded grade 2, was an increase, and also in training really, the sort of skills I've trained here in IT and just the sales skills I picked up has helped me bring in key accounts, and my IT skills have helped produce presentations we use for our pre-employment courses, or actually helped bring in Walker's Crisp PepsiCo as an account for us.
So you brought in some major accounts?
Yeah, so I was able to bring in, through my IT skills, some of people's PowerPoints perhaps well up to scratch, while I've been trained to an MVQ level 3 standard very recently. It's embedded in my memory, and I was able to produce sort of a very good presentation which perhaps had an effect on their decision to go with us as a recruiter.
Excellent. So what were the most challenging times of your apprenticeship?
I think the most challenging time, going to the apprenticeship side of things, of the classroom base, would be sort of access. It's all quite foreign to you initially, lots of formulas, complex formulas, but you get used to it and it's challenging to start off with, but I eventually passed it, and then now I consider myself to be quite au fait with databases and could happily build sort of a basic to sort of intermediate database on my own, I feel. And challenging in work is to stay motivated. Obviously you're very young. As an apprentice, you've got distractions out there. Your friends might be at college, university, while you're sitting in an office in a hot summer's day, 9 till 5. You might feel, a bit demotivated. But if you're enjoying work and liking what you do and feel what you contribute to the business, is only very sort of small sort of adverse effect on you.
And what about your career? You can describe how you have developed your career from when you started at 18 to you're now 20. So how has those 2 years gone for you?
Well, I completed my level 1 within the first 12 months, level 2, sorry, within the first 12 months intermediate. I feel that's when you mainly grow in your first year of work. You get used to the working environment, you gain your IT skills, and you're really growing as a person and maturing. In the second year, I was actually taken on a full-time basic salary by Elena here, and towards the end of the second year, I completed my level 3 qualification, advanced qualification, and also at the time, I felt that Elena perhaps could offer a position here at Qdos for me, where I wanted to go for my career as a very ambitious person. Fortunately, InTraining gave me that opportunity, and I went to join InTraining in the progress of my career.
And when you were an apprentice, obviously, apprenticeship wage at the time was £2.60 an hour, it's now £2.65 an hour. Was it enough? Was it hard?
I feel it's more than enough. As an 18-year-old, you don't really have much initially anyway. I wasn't working at college. Every sort of money I relied on was from my parents. But when you get your own money coming in, you get £100 a week, £400 a month. It's a big difference. You can invest in things, be independent, and the money does go a long way. You generally, as a sort of 18 to 20, 24-year-old, depending on circumstances, you don't have many commitments. You haven't got a house to pay for, you don't have many bills to pay for, so it's more than enough money to be earning, and eventually as well, that's for a year. You've got to think about your career and your prospects. I managed to a full-time wage in my second year, and now in my sort of third year of employment, I just started InTraining. I'm now earning in excess of sort of £23,000 a year. So it's a considerable amount of money to be earning as a 20-year-old. And dealing with apprenticeships on a sort of day-to-day basis, I know apprenticeships who we placed here who are now earning a lot of money, and now there's a potential there. The sky's the limit really. If you put the effort in, you can be rewarded.
Absolutely. So what's your new job role? Describe what you do now.
I'm an employee engagement consultant at InTraining. There's sort of two sides to what I do. One is working with the work programme, like job seekers. I'm tasked to get them into work within any sort of industry. Could be care, could be industrial, could be logistics, office, sales based. And then again, they also deal with apprenticeships. And I learned those skills, how to place apprenticeships and get companies at Qdos training, which I'm very grateful for. And we also deal with foundation learning and sort of multiple other skills as well.
So it's quite a varied role that you
have. It's quite a varied role, and I feel like that's all what I learned at Qdos in the classroom environment, and also just from the people that work here, whether it be Elena, whether it be my old manager Vinny. Without the skills and insight they gave me, I wouldn't have been able to be doing this role at InTraining. One, I probably wouldn't have got the job, or have the skills I have now to be effective in my job role.
Excellent. We do appreciate that hard work. That's work out for you. You mentioned about your achievements at InTraining, that you were one of the top salespeople.
Yeah, well currently I'm on third in the leaderboard nationally for EECs, Employee Engagement Consultants. We have 34 nationwide, so being the top 3 is a pretty good achievement considering I've been there just for 7 months now. But it's probably sort of unheard of. But I also had a lot of background and experience at Qdos to go into the job role, especially at sort of my age as well. People are probably thinking, how did you do it? But I was trained well here, and we also have a good team at InTraining based in Leicester. But I feel without sort of the steady foundations that Qdos laid down for me, I don't think I'll be able to do it.
Are you one of the youngest?
Well, I'm the youngest EC there. Well, I'm actually the youngest person in training who works there.
Oh, right.
And that's we're going from receptionist to admin as well. So I think a lot of people may think that it's an age discrimination. Can you progress quickly in age? Yes, you can if you're the right person for the job and you're good at what you do. Business is our business, you're going to contribute to it, whether it's in admin, whether it's in sales, whether it's in accountancy, or any type of industry line. If you can contribute better than the next man next to you, or woman, they're going to pay you as much as them, even at a young age.
Absolutely, I agree with you. So what advice would you give to an individual considering an apprenticeship, maybe thinking, do I go to college, do I do an apprenticeship, do I go straight away to university, do I go to university later, what do I do?
Well, see, I was in that similar boat. For the past few years I've been fortunate to deal with people who were in my situation at the time when I'm interviewing them and giving them careers advice. So I feel that if you haven't got a specific career in mind, you need to try and target somewhere or go for an apprenticeship. It will set you up for a good career. If you work hard and put the effort in within a good company, you'll be rewarded. You'll be taken on within a year and you can build a career at the company. And gaining work experience at a young age is very valuable. Employers love to develop their young side of their workforce and have people there for the business for potentially for years. And also, if you're looking to go to university but you're not quite sure what to study, you're very keen, you might not enjoy this degree, again I'd choose an apprenticeship. If you come 2 years into your degree and you're dropping out of university, you've wasted 2 years of your life. While if you go for an apprenticeship, you've got sort of 2 years of income in there, earning money and building a career. But I feel you have to try and target something you can be sure you want to do this. So I've been through there and seen people choose something just for the hell of choosing it, whether it's a college course, whether it's going for a degree, or whether it's doing an apprenticeship just for a job and money. And if they don't enjoy it, it's wasting their time and hindering their sort of progression as a young person.
Alright, well, thank you very much, Sam.
No problem,
We appreciate you coming here.
Thank you very much, thank you.